Hi, it's Jeffrey. I'm back again, this time to talk about Black liberation theology, particularly through the context that I know better, Christianized Black liberation theology. I say Christianized because I think there's something, I think there's something particular about the Black people who were dispersed throughout the Atlantic, North and South Atlantic. There's something about those who were brought into the Christian world, certainly through the Catholic world, but the fact that the enslaved Africans in North America and in throughout the Caribbean used Christianity to adopt to Western culture as a bridge. The Western cultures, the Portuguese, the French, the Spanish, the Dutch, the English, the Belgians that we were encountering, that Chinua Achebe chronicles in Things Fall Apart, and the initial interactions of what attracted the young Africans to Christendom. And certainly in the New World, part of that attraction was survival. Now, interestingly, that survival meant literally, like we see in the movie 12 Years a Slave, but that we've known from slave narratives, other slave narratives other than just Solomon Northup's, that adopting to Christianity was in many ways mandatory for our lives um, in the New World. And so the fact that almost the historical happenstance that North American blacks are Christian um, is important to note, because it isn't as if Black liberation theology doesn't exist in an Islamic tradition, doesn't exist, and we obviously see that it does. I mean, what else is the Nation of Islam other than Islamicized Black liberation theology? Manifested, I mean, really embodied in a character like Malcolm X, who many of those are converts from Christendom. Some may even have inherited Islam through other traditions, but I'm just talking about the Nation of Islam itself in relationship to professing the theological reasoning for the urgency of freedom, and particularly of the sin of white supremacist thinking. I think these are very clear threads that you find um, throughout our diaspora. With that said, why is it important to focus on Black liberation theology today? Well, you would have seen my videos on Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama, which I recently visited. Again, I always just go by there and just, pay homage, give props, recognize the struggle of the people and of that place, and that emanate from around there. The SCLC is on the backside, the civil rights, um, Montgomery Civil Rights Memorial, they have kind of what looks like a sundial, but it's actually a flat surface, flattened, smoothed out kind of rock surface, maybe not marble, but an area kind of rock, and carved on it are names of people who were slaughtered, hung, people who were martyred in the civil rights movement. And down the street from that, you have the first presidency, the White House of the first presidency of the Confederate government. So you have this contestation of what it means to be American, what Christendom, what power Christendom gives us as individuals today. You see that just in this 4 square blocks around the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. And so, what was the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church preaching? It was a Christian church. It was mobbed, by other Christians. All the efforts they made were met violently, by other Christians. Up the road is Birmingham. We call it Bloody Birmingham. those four little girls were bombed on, in Sunday school by other Christians who happened to be white. Um, the people who, um, I mean, the chain of events that happened in that city, with it, gave it its name, Bloody Birmingham. These are all Christians against Christian, and so, no wonder that Martin Luther King's one of his most celebrated works is actually a written work, and it's a um, letter from the Birmingham jail. And I think it's very interesting to note that someone so oratorily gifted um, is also quite on point when he takes pen to paper. And so you see this again, this bridge that we make between the non-Western world and the Western world in which we're immersed. You see that in our culture expressions. You see that in what I'm saying just here. King moving from written to pen.